Hey everyone, as a quick little heads up, I'm giving away this Artillery Stormtrooper when the channel hits 1,000 subscribers. We're very nearly there, and by the time this video comes out, we might even be past. Last I knew it was like 996. So when I hit 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to post a video thanking all 1,000 of you and giving instructions on how to win this Artillery Stormtrooper. Basically, it's just going to be comment on that video, and I'll do a random comment picker then. So I'll decide how long I'm going to let it run at that point. And that's all I got to say about this. So let's get into the review. I hope you like what you watch. Hey everyone, Hybrid Toy Reviews here, bringing you a look at the Star Wars The Black Series War of the Bounty Hunters Boba Fett in Disguise. This is a convention exclusive from earlier this summer. I believe it was San Diego. However, if I recall, these were not available at the event. You got a QR code if you went to the event that gave you the ability to pre-order this. And the pre-orders have not dropped, but a local comic shop had this sold to them from someone who had imported it from overseas. So I actually have it really early, objectively. So I'm excited to take a look at it. I'm excited to give you guys a look at it. But let's go ahead and get into the review, and we'll see what this guy is all about. Alright, you guys know the drill. As always, we're going to take a look at the packaging first. So, this packaging is very similar to the comic packaging, however, there is one difference we'll get to. Well, two, really. So, the first is, it is a very foily, it's not just a matte image. For instance, here is the Princess Leia, and it's just a picture. But this one is actually very shiny and holographic. You see, like, my hand in the, in the box. So, very cool, very shiny, nice silver, tattered backdrop. Got Star Wars War of the Bounty Hunters, got Boba Fett in his black disguise outfit, looking really cool. It's just cover art. Boba Fett in disguise, warning 4+ Hasbro. Side of the box features a picture of Boba in disguise, again in that foily silver. Some angles, like here, you can barely see it, but then you tilt it back and you let the light run down it. Got a Black Series logo at the bottom. Around back, you see a foily image of Boba riding Han and Carbonite out of an explosion. So it's really cool. It says, includes figure and 2 accessories. Got that foreign, the Chinese sticker there, which implies that this was available on foreign markets and then shipped here. Got a barcode, some legalese. Underneath the box, you get some comic panels. Just a comic panel of Boba's eyes visor. Top of the box, you see him dual-wielding his sidearm pistol. Side of the box, you see some different images of Boba from different panels in the run. And then, this features a Velcro opening front, showing the figure and his accessories off nicely. Got a Black Series logo. Again, Boba in disguise with a Hasbro logo. And then another foily picture of Boba in like some arena battle fighting that bug guy. There is a bio about Boba, which you can pause and read. And it looks really cool. Now, this is another difference. You see, there's no window here. I can grab Boba. All these other comic figures that have come, they do have a window. So I'm actually kind of annoyed now that this is a option for windowless packaging, but Hasbro went with what they did. Not to beat a dead horse or anything, but yeah, I think this probably would be superior windowless packaging, but what do I know? Anyway, let's go ahead and blasphemously open him up and see what we are getting here. So here's Boba Fett out of the packaging, and as always, of course, let's start by taking a look at his accessories. He comes with 2 reused and then 1 totally new. Let's look at the reused. He comes with his little blaster pistol, and it looks really good. It's just in black. We've had this in black before with the prototype Boba Fett, so it's nothing crazy remarkable, but it looks good. It's kind of like it's almost even like a really, 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 really dark gray, like a almost gunmetal-y, not quite jet black, but it does the job well. Has a nice sculpt to it, and he features a hip holster that it just slots down into. The tip of the barrel just pokes out the bottom of the holster, but it's held in there nicely. It's not going anywhere. And then, of course, he comes with his standard jetpack, this time done in black as well. Looking really nice. There's absolutely no paint accents. It's just black. It could honestly be a black plastic just with a clear over it to give it some shine. But it's nothing crazy remarkable. And as all the others, he features a peg in the center of his back with these two notches for these two tabs up here. I like to, on this one, because he has the fabric cape, try and get the cape to where it's just sitting almost over the one. And then pegging the jetpack in and letting that tab go into the indent where it goes, but trapping the cape. That way it kind of just holds it in a good place. So that is a personal strategy for this figure. And then the unique accessory, and I have a gripe with it, is the big spear thing that he uses in the cover and maybe in bits of the arena battle. This is not a comic run that I've read. I'm not up to date on my comics, but I was aware of this. I watch YouTubers that sometimes do comic recaps, so I'm more or less aware of what happens in the story. So I was intrigued. This is a totally new sculpt. Features a really cool, kind of like wicked, tri-point spearhead. It's in that same kind of like dark gray, almost black as the pistol is. It features a little ball of a point on the end. The one thing I don't like is that this thing is kind of rubbery. I mean, you get some flex in here, but it's pretty stiff. But then you get up to the head, and these blades, they're actually a different piece. I mean, this handle is just spinning, and this can turn independently. But this is just rubber. And same on the bottom. It's a different piece. It's like it's pegged in. And the spear point is rubber. Now, I know that Hasbro doesn't want kids, having a very, very pointed end, solid piece of plastic to go and shiv their classmates with. But given that this is like a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive that's been like very hard to get outside of, I don't think there's too many kids that are going to be running around with this. I think for these convention exclusives, rubberizing points could probably be something that's overlooked, but maybe that's just me. I don't know. He features no storage, as this is just a long handheld melee weapon. Setting it off to the side, bringing Boba forward, it's a black Boba Fett. He looks really good. There's a lot of gloss to it. This figure is complete and total reuse. I know some of us may have been hopeful. I knew from the photos it wasn't, but maybe some people may have been hopeful that it'd be reused from the Return of the Jedi Boba Fett, but it's not. It is reused from the Orange Line Boba Fett. Yes, that is an Orange Line, not an archive. I've actually had this since 2013. Fun story to it, too. Maybe I'll tell someday. But, they've reused this figure for a prototype Boba Fett. They've reused it for the carbonized Boba Fett. I feel like there's been at least one other reuse since, other than archive. But they've had this available for a while. And technically, this body mold was the first ever Black Series figure, because the first Black Series figure was a San Diego Comic-Con Boba Fett with a Han and Carbonite. That's how they announced the line. It came out shortly before Wave 1 Orange Line. So, little do you know, they keep double dipping for this body mold for San Diego. But this time he is in all black, and he looks really good, although I do have some minor gripes, as I always do. We should all be pretty familiar with the body mold, so really the only unique thing here is the deco. Now, I really like the choice of black. It's a very satin, low gloss for the armor pieces. I just have a ton of light on it. My one issue, and it is the same with the carbonized, is that whatever clear coat they've put over to give it a little bit of a shimmer got all over the fabric parts of the figure too. I really think for the price hike and the exclusivity, they really should have done a matted black bodysuit with then your gloss on the armor plates because they're metal. I don't really like the whole everything is shiny, even the fabric stuff. That was my big gripe with the carbonized Boba Fett, which is a figure I kind of regret picking up in hindsight because of that. But, yeah, it's a little, I mean, he needs some shine, but they definitely went with too shiny when they made everything shiny. But he still does look cool. He looks very intimidating, as a all-black Mandalorian would. And, yeah, let's look at some closer details. Let's take a look at that head sculpt. One thing I do like is they did use a straight gloss black on the visor. Makes it really pop. Even the dent got filled in. So, I mean, there's just a lot of good stuff going on. There's not varying shades of that black paint. You just have the high points and the low points on the helmet, and it just kind of, makes it look like there's, different darker areas. It really turned out really nice. You got your little dents on the shoulder pads, of course, and little dings on the ab plates. I mean, there's some really good stuff going on here. Spinning around black, you do see that fabric cape, which is one of the only things the old body had going for it. I wish the Return of the Jedi had a fabric cape, but that fabric cape is just a sheer black. Even it has just a tiny bit of shine that only like a polyester type material could. But man, does it look good. You can lift up the cape and you just see it's just basically pants with armor plates on the front. So, you know, it's just like a good look at how shiny it is. And potentially some of that shine could just be because it's plastic. But I don't know. I wish they could have dulled it down some to really emphasize that that is fabric and then the armor plates are armor. So that's so, and it's still cool. I still really like it. But like, there are definitely things to talk about. Now, even though this figure's been out for 10 years and you guys probably know everything about what I'm about to show, let's run through some articulation. Why not? He features a ball on a hinge for the neck, so it allows his head to turn that far up, which is pretty good for flying poses. If you do a little bit of shifting, you can get the head all the way down. Of course, there's rotation. It's a little stiff, and you get some pivot. His arms can come up. You can actually put the shoulder pads up into the torso piece to get a true T-pose out of him. No butterfly joints, but a 360 at the shoulder. Single jointed elbows. Can't quite make 90 degrees, but they can rotate. Then there's a rotation at the gauntlet, and then a rotation at the wrist, with both hands hinging in and out. There is no up and down articulation, just in and out. That's one of the things that really kills the regular version of this figure for me. Not to interrupt, but because the regular version features that kind of like shotgun, I wish that he had an up and down right hand. It would really help with him like actually shouldering it and pointing it. So that's one of the things that I really like that they fixed on the Return of the Jedi version. He features a mid-torso ball joint, allowing him to crunch that far back, tiny bit forward, and of course rotate, and you get some pivot. His legs can kick that far apart. This one, the holster starts to press on it, so it doesn't go as far as the other. The legs really can't go too far forward. These big pouches on the belt have really killed this figure. You can kind of force them out and get the leg up that far, but that's really weak. Legs don't go back. The Boba butt gets in the way. Features an upper thigh rotation. Double jointed knees can come pretty high up, truthfully. The feet can point straight down, pretty much just straight forward, not really up. And then there's a really good pivot, so you can actually get some pretty decently wide stances with both feet flat on the ground. Getting him stood up, let's do some size comparisons. Of course, everything here would be the same, but just the orange line Boba Fett once more, just to give you a more standard color palette. Here is his not yet met friend, Din Djarin. And just because he is a staple, the new body Stormtrooper with a lot of glare behind him. There we go. As you see, he stands pretty much right at that 6-inch mark, and he works rather well with all the other figures. So, end of the day, what do I think of this Boba Fett? You know, I like it. I know I was giving it some gripes. Here's why. Objectively, this body mold has always been a fine body mold. It is exceptionally dated as it gets ever closer to 10 years old next year. But, I mean, it looks good. I mean, it's a good sculpt. It looks like a really good Boba Fett. Just there are some questionable choices. Those pouches on the belt that hinder the leg articulation. The no vertical hinge on the right hand. But those are gripes that we've had with this figure forever. When I start getting into the gripes about the paint on this guy, and the flexibility of the tips of the spear, you know, when it comes to these things being a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, I understand that they are still made by that same Hasbro factory that gives you the $10 flick-out lightsabers and the Nerf gun Star Wars blasters. You know, they still make it the same way they make any other figure, but when you get that difficulty to acquire and at the higher price point, the exclusivity of being a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, I really go into it expecting there to be something premium about it, and it's just another Black Series. They could take this guy and stick it in the regular comic line, and it would blend right in. And so you have to go into it with that mindset. Do I recommend this Boba? Yeah, I mean, I recommend any of them on this body mold, even though they're a little bit dated. I mean, if you can get over the carbonized paint, go for that. If you can get over the, weird articulation. I mean, it's a good-looking figure, but do I recommend paying a huge third-party price on it? Probably not. I mean, the shop that I went to had this guy set at $70. And it was a buy-sell trade, so I brought some Funkos that I've had forever and got it down to basically a $20 out-of-pocket for me. I'm viewing it as a $20 figure for me personally, not to brag. So, like, I think he's cool. Don't go spending $100 like he's going for on eBay. Find someone overseas to get him for you. You'll be in at $40-50. I think you're doing pretty good there. I do recommend it, but I don't recommend going crazy for it. And if it's not a figure you want, then of course don't go for it. It's not an essential for any collection. He's not a Boba version from a movie. I am glad to finally get like a really unique Boba Fett, which is weird because I was knocking on that Tusken outfit Boba Fett from the Mandalorian line. But, this is like, Boba Fett looking like Boba Fett, but really different. So, I recommend it. Yeah, but just don't break the bank doing it. He's not worth breaking the bank, but he's a cool one just to have. So, I'm going to go. Thanks for watching. It means a lot that you did. If you enjoyed, you should leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that end of video stuff. You guys know the drill. Every YouTuber says this stuff. I'm going to go get to work on some other videos, and hopefully I'll get some good content out for you this week. So, I'll see you later. Until then, may the Force be with each and every one of you. Bye.